Hello and welcome to another update video about ADA Cardano. Yeah, in a difficult situation here, corrective wave structures happening here at the moment. And yeah, it can get quite complex, these corrections. I did post it on Telegram earlier today and said, you know, it's there are dozens of different corrective wave patterns in Elliott wave, and it's basically impossible to say from the beginning, you know, which one is currently playing out. Let me share with you a few possibilities, and let's go through the different possibilities here, because it's important. I mean, we can't obviously forecast from the beginning, you know, what exact pattern is going to develop here, what kind of corrective structure is it. Therefore, it's important to understand the different levels of supports for the different scenarios. And as always, you know, ideally scaling into support, scaling out of resistance is sort of the strategy that, you know, is at least one of the strategies how Elliott waves can be traded. And for example, scaling into support, if you then see there's a failure of breaking out and a failure of follow through in an impulse to the upside, you can scale out. That works on all time frames, so nobody forces you to trade these lower time frames, which can be quite uncertain at times. And it's often good not to get too hung up on, you know, what exact pattern or corrective wave pattern it actually is. We can use it, you know, to confirm the higher degree pattern, but these smaller degree patterns obviously change quite frequently, because you can't, you know, this could become a larger triangle, you know, it could become an even larger flat pattern. Yeah. So we're going to talk about a few options here. So for example, you know, we've got the first larger degree scenario is that we have currently this wave 4 still ongoing. Now, theoretically, obviously, we could say wave 4 is in and we are now rallying in 5. That is still technically possible. But we say we have here another 1-2 setup. And then, yeah, why not? I mean, we say wave 4 was finished here at around 30.8 cents. This was a wave 1 up. You can get away with counting it as an impulse. I did explain that here, actually. Did explain that in the previous video. 1, 2, and then you have your 3 and a small 4, 5. Possible. And then we have now an A, B, C to the downside in a wave 2. This particular scenario is technically valid as long as we're holding above 30.6 cents, and likely as long as we hold above basically 32 cents. And we could say that we moved up here in a 1. This currently is a 2, should be nearly finished then, and we can rally in a 3, 4, 5. Anybody who, you know, you can obviously buy into that. You can scale into this support. But this is not a high confidence pattern, because this move up looks very much like a corrective structure. And I don't believe, but if I look at the chart for Bitcoin, Ethereum, they should ideally come down a little bit lower as well. Of course, no guarantee that's going to work out, but in all likelihood they should. And therefore, I think ADA will have a hard time to break up directly from here. But that's a possibility, and that is likely as long as we're holding 32 cents. And it will get, in my opinion, much more likely. Probabilities will increase for that scenario if we break above the B wave high at 35.6 cents. Second scenario is that this wave 4 was never finished. That what we've done here so far is just a WXY, where also the Y wave can come down a bit lower. Yeah? Got here an ABC. This C wave can also extend down lower, and as long as we're holding 29.24 cents, this is also still possible, and then we could rally here still to an upside, even if we get into this green area, which means strategically, if we dip into this area, it might be a possible long trade setup. The lower we come to the possible invalidation point, which is here at around 29.3 cents, the better, because it will reduce your risk if you set the stop loss below that, okay? Then we still have a chance to rally in the 5th, but below that level, we cannot get away with this scenario anymore. I will then have to assume that wave 4 was in here, the 5 was in here, and that we are now doing something like a larger correction. A wave, B wave, and we might come down much further in the C. Or, and that's sort of the idea that I have for Mana, for example, that this ABC is just the larger A wave, then we'll get a larger B wave to the upside, and we would then come down in C. Now, therefore, as you can clearly see, we cannot really say which one it is until we eventually will break below the support. That's why this area is so important for possibly scaling in, anybody who wants to do it, because also for an A wave. So for example, in let's say if we get into this area, it's a possible long trade setup, because even in this scenario where we are in a wave 2, there should be some buy reaction in this area for the wave A. Yeah, somewhere in here there should be a buy reaction, and this area is between 32 cents basically and 29.3 starts, yeah, basically, yeah. If you then see that this move up is failing to break out, or you could take some profits up here, because it could just be a B wave and will come down later. Depends a little bit on the structure that's evolving here, but there should be a reaction in this scenario, even for a wave B. And in the other two scenarios, there should also be some kind of a buy reaction from this area. And obviously always taking into consideration, we could be in a more aggressive correction in this wave 2 here, maybe coming down straight away, which I don't think, because it would be a very long wave C. But then therefore we've got a stop loss right below this support area, and then there should be then another possibility to scale in down here. And therefore, as you can see, there is no way of telling at the moment which scenario it is, because nobody knows the future. But as long as we know the critical support areas and the invalidation points for the different scenarios, it can help us to scale into support and scale out of resistance. Looking at the bigger picture, we haven't really seen a very clear wave 2 yet, so I don't think a wave 2 is in. It's technically possible as well, but unlikely that here a wave 2 is already in. You could say maybe this was not a 3-4 but a 1-2, but it would have been very shallow, and it would have also it would be in contra, or yeah, it would be different to what other coins are doing. So unless we really get all these 5 waves up complete and then a clear wave 2 correction that we could also use as scaling in, it will be hard to say really, is the bear market low already in. As you know, even if we have the first larger 1-2, it is still not possible to really confirm the bear market low is in, because it could just be an A wave and a B wave and we rally up in C. So without 5 significant waves up, given the bigger context in which Cardano is operating, looking at the bigger picture chart, I mean, zoom out, you'll see that what we've done is okay, but it's not really anything unusual compared to what we did before here in terms of rallies in this bear market. So, this could also just, again, fail when we come down. Therefore, we need to be so careful about, risk management at the moment still, not going all in. Be careful with leverage in the current situation here, where we don't have an established trend yet in the bigger time frame. And those support areas can be valuable trade setups, in my opinion, at the moment, if you trade the shorter time frame. But for anybody who's hodling, this time at the moment is still deep in the bear market. Yes, surely we could drop further, but it is an area where dollar cost averaging is always, in my opinion, something useful for anybody who likes a certain project. I mainly concentrate on Bitcoin, Ethereum, but still, if anybody likes a certain project, I'm not going to tell you not to DCA, because if you're convinced about a certain project and the future and the fundamentals, that's why we dollar cost average in, because we believe they are going to be here for the long term. So, but yeah, that's sort of where we are with ADA. I hope I'll be able to give you some more clarity later. Probably not today, but maybe in the next few days. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.